Hello and welcome to Looking Back, Moving Forward. This is a space for thoughtful conversations and gentle reflections for people who are simply doing their best. No fuss, no fixing, just a few minutes as we sit or drive together. Pause, think slowly, and be human. And if you have been with me for a few of these conversations already, thank you for listening along. Let's begin. The relationship with food is one of the longest relationships humans have. It begins before we have words, before we have memories, before we even understand ourselves. It sits quietly beside us through birthdays and bereavements, celebrations, and ordinary Wednesdays. And like any relationship that lasts a lifetime, I wonder if it's worth understanding more deeply. Think about almost every meaningful moment in your life. Perhaps one way to do that is simply to notice where food has been quietly showing up all along. Someone was probably preparing food, sharing it, or inviting you to a table. Perhaps it is the instrument used to relax the tensions in the room, or the invitation to connect calmly as you chewed on familiar flavors, smiling inwardly. Whether it's warm and hearty, or crisp and crunchy, it has the ability to travel years back to a moment in time. Your memory arrives before the words do. Remembering the kitchen where someone always seemed to know exactly what you needed before you did. The weekend lunches and suppers that somehow stretched on because no one was in a hurry to leave. The table that welcomed celebrations and just as gently held our grief. The neighbor who arrived with a warm meal when words simply weren't enough. Friends who said, "Come over," and put the kettle on before asking what had happened. The recipe that still carries the hands of someone who is no longer here. Perhaps that's why food has remained at the heart of every culture. Not because every culture eats the same foods, but because every culture understands the importance of gathering, of making space, of listening, of learning, of passing stories from one generation to the next, of celebrating together, of making sure that no one has to grieve alone. Maybe the meal has never been the whole story. Maybe it was simply what brought us to the table. Food isn't just food. It's the invitation, the catalyst, the reason we pause long enough for life to happen around it. Perhaps that's why we remember so few of the meals, yet so many of the moments that brought us to the table. Is it not true? Very few of us remember what was served at our birthday gathering, but we remember who laughed, who danced, who hugged us, who sat opposite us, who was missing, who came home, who told the story we'd heard 100 times. The food quietly did its work. And perhaps it still does. Food has become part of the language we use to describe what it means to be human, often using these phrases away from the table. Taste of things to come. Break bread together. Food for thought. Until next time, look back with kindness, move forward with intention, and remember, you are simply doing your best.